Tony and Sharon Williams were the newest couples in Lagos State, and they loved each other so much. They moved into their new home few days after their wedding, and they were living happily there, or so they thought. They were devoted Christians and would not joke with anything concerning their Christian religion. They loved the Christianity so much because it was the way their parents led them throughout their childhood. They never believed in any other religion, like the Muslim religion. When they pass in front of a mosque, they would laugh out loud and point at the mosque saying, "What do they think they are doing in there? Do they think they are serving the real God?" After, they will be saying, "Allah, Allah, Allah." What is the meaning of Allah if they can't call God themselves? They are just lying to themselves. Later on, they will find themselves in hell once they die. They would say, like people who don't have thoughts. And whenever their car or they pass in front of a traditional house, they would point at the house looking very scared and say, "What do they even do in there?" The husband would say, the wife would say, "I heard some women saying they perform spiritual wickedness in there." And they would talk like people with no thoughts as usual. Tony and Sharon loved each other so dearly. They would cook together, eat together, sleep together, play together, make jokes, watch movies. In fact, they did everything together. Even walking, they walked together because they worked in the same office. After 7 years of true love but no child, Tony and Sharon started thinking about their little problem, or let me say huge problem, because having no child is like pouring water into a basket. They might love each other, but the most important thing that bonded their love so dearly was the child they would have together. And this would also secure their unbreakable bond. For their families not to break them, they needed to have a child. Tony and Sharon went to visit Tony's mother's house, and just as they feared, Tony's mother called Sharon to a small room while they were there and started pestering her and complaining to her about the birth of a child. She said, "If you don't give me and my son a child very soon, we would have to chase you out of that house, because you can't just sit down and be eating from where you did not sow. Give us a child. I give you the next 9 months to do so. If in the next 2 months you don't conceive a baby, then you will see the wrath of an angry mother-in-law," she said, and walked out on Sharon, leaving her there crying. After that day, Tony and Sharon started visiting their church regularly, even days that are not Sundays. They started going there regularly to seek for help from the church elder. But the church elder told them that she was going to help them, and she gave them a bottle of holy water to put in their bathing water every morning and every night, that God will surely perform a miracle in their life, because they were meant to have children. One day, when they were walking down their streets, dressed casually and looking sad and depressed due to their condition, a madman walked up to them and laughed, saying, "Ha ha ha ha! You people think you are helping yourself. You are only destroying yourself. You think only one religion can solve your problem? It's not possible. You guys will never have children unless you stop criticizing other religions and embracing them. They both stared at the madman, surprised by his choice of words. "How did you know we aren't able to have children?" they asked. And he said, "You can have children, but it is only in your hands. Embrace other religions and you see the miracle." And they left while dancing. And Tony and Sharon were still standing there, looking stunned at everything the madman had just said. They would really believe him because he knew what their problem was. He wasn't just a madman delivering messages. He was a God sent. God has sent a madman to give them a very important message in their life. So they started visiting the mosque and also the herbalist's house. And the two religions gave them a message to do and some little things to perform so that the miracle can be complete. Not that the water their church elder gave to them wasn't working. It was. They just needed those two religions, other instruments to back them up, because that was what God wanted. And by God's grace, after a few months, Sharon got pregnant, and within another few months, she gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. And the next Friday, they went to the mosque for a child christening and celebrated joyfully. On Saturday, they went to the traditional home for a child christening and they also celebrated joyfully. And on Sunday, they finalized everything at the church with a big and grand celebration. And ever since then, they started teaching little children about religion criticism, which was not advisable to be performed by the young ones who were still coming up. They used their experience as an example for them, and the children believed everything they said. They even made posters writing, "Religion criticism is not advisable. All religions should be appreciated." After that, they traveled out of the country to take care of their child, and they were living happily ever after since then. The end. I guess we all have learned an important message, that religion criticism is not advisable for anyone. All religions should be appreciated and embodied by everyone. Because you go to the church doesn't mean what they do at the mosque is wickedness or what they do at a traditional home is evil. You need to believe and not criticize any religion at all, because they are all serving the same God and you don't know where your help might come from. Just like Tony and Sharon's story as an example, their gift of conceiving wasn't brought to them until they finally embodied all the religions. That doesn't mean that you should put everything on your head. You just have to know the right time to embody the different religions that we have. But that's all for now, and don't forget to do everything you see on the signboard. Help this little girl, and God will help you too. Amen. Bye.